This presentation offers a comprehensive look at how capital punishment has been practiced throughout history, the cultural and legal challenges that have shaped it, and the controversies surrounding its modern application. We will explore ancient practices, religious influences, legal reforms, pivotal court rulings, and international trends. The Code of Hammurabi is one of the earliest known legal documents prescribing death for 25 different crimes. In ancient Egypt, capital punishment was used for crimes such as theft and blasphemy. Greek and Roman societies employed a variety of execution methods, including stoning, crucifixion, and burning, often as public spectacles. In the Hebrew Bible, numerous offenses were punishable by death, including murder, adultery, and idolatry. Christian perspectives on capital punishment varied over time. Some early church leaders opposed it, while medieval Catholic doctrine supported it as a tool for moral correction. Islamic law, or Sharia, prescribes capital punishment for certain hudud offenses, but application varies widely by country. Capital punishment was used extensively during this period, not only for crimes like murder and treason, but also for theft, heresy, and witchcraft. Torture was often part of the judicial process. Executions were public events meant to deter others, with beheadings, hangings, and burnings commonplace. Inquisitions and monarchies used capital punishment to consolidate power and suppress dissent. By the 18th century, over 200 crimes in England carried the death penalty, including petty theft and cutting down a tree. The harshness of the Bloody Code was intended to protect property and deter crime, but led to growing public unease. Many sentences were not carried out due to jury reluctance and eventual use of transportation to penal colonies like Australia. Colonial laws varied significantly by region. In Puritan New England, religious and moral crimes such as blasphemy, adultery, and witchcraft could result in execution. Southern colonies emphasized capital punishment for property crimes and rebellion, particularly in the context of enslaved peoples. Methods included hanging and firing squad. Inspired by Enlightenment thinkers like Cesare Beccaria, reformers argued that capital punishment was not an effective deterrent and often unjustly applied. Some U.S. states began to limit capital crimes and explore alternative punishments, including long-term incarceration. Pennsylvania was the first state to adopt degrees of murder in 1794. The electric chair was introduced in New York in 1890 as a supposedly more humane method than hanging. The gas chamber followed in Nevada in 1924. These methods were intended to reduce public spectacle and pain, but soon became controversial in their own right. Between 1900 and 1972, over 7,000 people were executed in the United States. However, public confidence in the justice system began to wane amid civil rights movements, revelations of wrongful convictions, and concerns over fairness and racial bias. In 1972, in Furman v. Georgia, in a 5-4 decision, the court found that the arbitrary and inconsistent application of the death penalty violated the 8th and 14th Amendments. The ruling did not outlaw capital punishment, but required states to revise their statutes to ensure more consistency and fairness. In 1976, in Gregg v. Georgia, the court upheld Georgia's revised law, which included bifurcated trials and guided discretion in sentencing. This ruling allowed other states to resume executions under similar frameworks. The death penalty was now constitutional if applied fairly and with procedural safeguards. First used in Texas in 1982, lethal injection was promoted as a more humane alternative to electrocution, gas, and hanging. However, botched executions, legal challenges, and drug shortages have reignited debates over its humanity. From an international perspective, over 2/3 of the world's countries have abolished the death penalty in law or practice. The European Union prohibits member states from using it. China, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United States are among the top users of capital punishment globally. Numerous studies show that defendants of color, especially black men, are more likely to be sentenced to death, particularly when the victim is white. These disparities raise serious concerns about systemic bias and unequal justice. Organizations like the Innocence Project have helped exonerate over 190 people sentenced to death in the United States since 1973. These cases often involve false confessions, mistaken identity, prosecutorial misconduct, or inadequate defense. Supporters of the death penalty argue it ensures justice, deters crime, and provides closure. Opponents cite wrongful convictions, state power over life and death, and the potential for cruel and unusual punishment. As of 2024, 23 states have abolished the death penalty, and 3 have moratoriums. Executions continue in several southern states. The federal government resumed executions under the Trump administration, but paused them under President Biden. Support for the death penalty peaked in the 1990s at around 80%, but has since declined to below 60%. Factors influencing opinion include crime rates, media coverage, and awareness of wrongful convictions. Current trends suggest continued decline due to legal challenges, moral debates, and logistical barriers. Some states have introduced legislation to abolish it entirely, while others seek to expand its use. In 2011, Troy Davis was executed in Georgia despite significant doubts about his guilt. Witnesses recanted and no physical evidence linked him to the crime. His case sparked global protests and calls for systemic reform.